I have been playing a video game that I know is going to split the crowd somewhat, right? Because I suppose essentially it is a crossover. So it's trying to take parts of one game and parts of another and smash them together. But the thing is, I have no attachment to either series. So I'm kind of coming in with fresh eyes and can judge it for what it is. And I can tell you, quite good. Persona 5 Strikers. So this is a sequel to the beloved turn-based combat PS4 exclusive Persona 5. Direct sequel, happens about 6 months after that story. But as I say, it is very different. It is a hack and slash RPG, and it's a crossover between Persona and Dynasty Warriors. But it's not wholly about hacking and slashing. There are other differences I'll get onto, but what you're doing when facing off against baddies while dungeon crawling is the biggest change when it comes to Persona. So, what were known as palaces in Persona 5 are called jails in Strikers.
Right.
There's a story reason for this, but it is a story-heavy game, so I won't get into why they're called jails. But these jails are your dungeons. Loads of different areas where you come up against loads of monsters. But whereas Persona 5, the combat was turn-based, here it's this hybrid. So while you're in battle, you play as 4 members of your party of 8 or 9. And you can switch control to any of these 4 whenever you like, usually depending on their strengths and the weaknesses of the baddies you're facing off against. It's probably, the best tactic to use. Each of them have their own melee weapons with elemental effects, their own guns, attacks specific to them, etc., etc. But while you're wailing away on these monsters, just in real time hacking and slashing, you're also able to pause the action by calling on your persona. So, personas are essentially the monsters that are attached to these characters, these your party members. All of them have one, but Joker, who is the protagonist, he's able to wield loads. Now, these personas also have a whole load of different abilities that they can use, again, usually specializing in one area of attack. So like Ryuji's persona is electricity based, Anne's is fire based, Morgana's is wind based, and so on. It's essentially Captain Planet.
1,000 Persona fans wail out in unison.
So, when you pause the action, you open up your Persona menu, you can't be attacked. So it allows you to survey what's happening around you, and it kind of gives you a chance to see the weaknesses of enemy personas, and it also allows you to sort of plot your next move as well. And I have to say, Matthew Castle, I love it. I really, really enjoyed it. Again, I have no history with Dynasty Warriors. I played about 10 or 12 hours of Persona 5, so I don't have skin in the game. Like, if you're a purist and you hate the idea of Yusuke leathering monsters in real time, then this isn't the game for you. If you're this turn-based purist. But the combination works like a dream in my eyes. The action itself, it's responsive and fast-paced when you're hacking and slashing, as you would expect, I suppose, from a musou game. But you're also able to take a breather by pulling out your persona. And that's the other thing, right? I call it a musou game. I suppose that's what Dynasty Warriors is. And the action is definitely chaotic at times here. You're sometimes facing off against a large group of baddies. But it never feels overwhelming because as well as being able to pause and use your personas, you also have plenty of opportunities to leap on enemies with this thing called all-out attack, or you have your showtime attacks. So there's plenty of option to, if you are feeling a bit crowded, to just level the playing field a little bit. I suppose the thing is, right, Dynasty Warriors, a lot of people just turn off their brain when they play it. Like, I think there's depth to this. Like, as well as the personas and the abilities attached to each, like I said, you can control each member of your party as well. Their basic attacks, they're more or less the same, but each of them has their own distinct special abilities where, like, some characters will coat their weapon in whatever their elemental power is, and other ones, like Morgana, will transform into this cat car that you can essentially use to run over your enemies. At the beginning, yes, it is a bit button mashy, but like the button mashy won't get you too far. You do need to like be aware of what party members you're picking, what attacks you're using, making sure you're picking on the weaknesses of enemies, and just kind of watching what your enemies are doing around you in this 3D space. Where the mixtures of genres didn't really work for me was when I had to replenish my health or my SP. Now, I know this is kind of a tough thing to get around, right? But like, because this isn't turn-based, this is like bang, 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 bang. This is really going frantic, but in a good way, I want to say. When you want to replenish either your health or your SP, which is, your persona skills, your mana, it's just a bit of a pain pausing and going into the menus and looking for the item you want to use mid-battle, because there is no hotkey to attach these items to. It sort of just kills the momentum of what is otherwise this like exhilarating battle where just so many things are happening on screen. And I get it, because like your party members are mapped to the D-pad, so like where are you going to put these items? But yeah, a small gripe, but a gripe nonetheless, I suppose.
Does the game have the is it all hack and slash, or does it have any of the social stuff between levels?
Well, there isn't an awful lot of it, really. So if you love the story of Persona, that is here for you, but you're not going to be able to like go to school and meet up with so-and-so at this place and blah, 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 blah. As somebody with basically zero history with the Phantom Thieves, the main group in this game, it acts as like a great intro to me and to anyone else. If you do have history with these characters, I don't think you're going to get anything in the new when it comes to like character development.
Right.
But that's me saying that as somebody who was properly introduced to these characters by playing this game. You know, there isn't much growth in most of them. I understand it is a spin-off. Maybe they don't want to establish too many new things here, as it were. I don't know. But like, all of these characters, they tick a box. Yusuke loves art. Futaba, immature nerd. Makoto, the responsible one. You will get character growth and progression when it comes to the new characters that they've added to the cast. And again, it is very story heavy, so I don't want to spoil things, but like Sophia and Zenkichi, or these new characters, they have very good arcs. And overall, I think it's a really enjoyable story. Like, sure, it can be wholesome, bordering on sickly sweet, I suppose. And each friend, as I said in the Phantom Thieves, is this kind of box ticker. But like, my completion time was 38 hours and 37 minutes. And for that 38 hours and 37 minutes, I was hooked. I was in on this story, and, you know, it handles some heavy stuff as well, and it handles it all quite well. But the reason I bring up my duration is because, like, yeah, this is a much, much shorter game than Persona 5. And this is where a lot of people are going to have an issue with it. Like, some will call it stripped back, others might call it more focused. But there is an in-game calendar in this, but the dates and times will only change when they need to change for the story. There isn't loads of stuff when it comes to like the social things in this game, but you do, it isn't all about the jails as well and the metaverse. You can walk around these cities that you go to as well, because the Phantom Thieves, they're on this road trip and they're going around to all these different locations in Japan. And yeah, you can walk around these cities, but it's essentially just to stock up on supplies like HP or SP.
Yeah, I think it would be asking a bit too much of it to expect it to have like the full Persona.
The full Persona experience, yeah.
Yeah.
You're able to access a shop from your base as well, so pottering around these towns becomes less important as the game progresses. Exploration is there, but it's minimal. There is some longevity here for those that want it in these things called requests, which are these side quest type things. I don't want to call them full side quests because they're not really. When you're walking around these cities, sometimes party members will like engage in a little side story with you to get certain items in a town, and it's not always signposted, so you sometimes have to figure it out for yourself, and that's quite nice, and character building and whatever else. But there are also requests to revisit jails. I believe in Persona 5, once palaces were done with, they were done with. Here you can revisit jails after you've completed them. And these requests will be, you know, go back and kill 20 of this type of persona or whatever, right? And you get a little extra on top, I don't know, more XP or whatever it is, right? Or an XP boost. And what it does is it sort of makes it feel less grindy when you're essentially grinding to go back into these jails and make yourself more powerful for future bosses. But to be fair, I didn't have to do loads of grinding. Like, I did a decent number of requests, but it was nothing bordering on boring or annoying or anything like that. So, I mean, all in all, I think it's quite good.